Bolingana. Abdallah Filemon. Nakati ya Wele Akakuma. Nakati ya Walda.
This is a message you must hear of how to heal the land and save the people of Zaire. Reverend Dr. NZITA has the only reasonable, honest plan that started in 1990 with 3 men, Tom Walker, Robert Oakley, and Dr. Zita himself. It is a plan of hope, inspired by God through reconciliation, resurrection, revival, reconstruction, and restoration. Say goodbye to the dinosaur. Come back to God so your land may be healed. Say goodbye to the dinosaur and receive the message of hope through Reverend Dr. NZITA, the man to effect positive change in Zaire. Dr. Zita, your only hope for democracy in Zaire. Dr. Zita, your only choice for president.
Northside, alors rebanate te balelia.
Overlooked perhaps in the current turmoil that is Zaire is a plan to hold its first multi-party presidential election. No date has been set, but the balloting is expected before the year ends. It must be noted that the election process in Zaire is tenuous and past elections have been cancelled or the results ignored by Zaire's ruler of 31 years, Mobutu Sese Seko. If and when they do occur, our guest will be one of the candidates. Stephen Nziza is the founder of both the People's Progressive Party and the International Christian University of Zaire, Zambia and Congo. He has lived and worked in the US as a pastor since 1982. Dr. Nziza, If we look at Zaire now, we have the president undergoing cancer treatment in Monaco. We have the prime minister in Nairobi, who's in fact been ousted from power by the parliament. Is anyone in power in Kinshasa?
Yes, what you have right now in Kinshasa is an example of a vacuum and the end of the old regime. The people of Zaire are demanding change, and the time for change has come. We want democracy, we want elections, and we're ready to vote our leaders.
Why would you want to be president?
The people of Zaire have suffered enough. The silent majority which I represent is screaming every day. They want Mobutu to go, and they want the small minority, the elites, who are destroying our country to live. Our country has enough mineral resources and natural resources that can allow us to build our country and go for prosperity. I want to bring in Zaire prosperity. I want to bring in Zaire peace. I want to bring progress in Zaire.
But you have been outside the country for 15 years. What gives you the confidence that the people will really recognize you as their leader?
Well, the good news is I've been in the country since the beginning of this decade. I've been every time in Zaire. In 1990, I started to build a university in Zaire, and in 1992, the university started. I created and founded the International Christian University in Zaire, of which I am the chancellor. I built a small hospital in Zaire. My university, International Christian University of Zaire, is the first bilingual university built in that country since independence. I listen to the people of Zaire, I know the people of Zaire, and I am present in Zaire. In fact, my presence in Zaire is felt everywhere we have been able to work.
Do you think that the current crisis your country has now, power vacuum in the capital, the rebels holding a third of the country, do you think a negotiated settlement is possible and that Mr. Kabila will be the obvious strongman and successor here?
Kabila and Mobutu are alike. Mr. Kabila, if he wants democracy in Zaire, what we are looking for is election. He must join the democratic process. There is a process. Zaire is not a jungle, it's a country. Mr. Kabila and Mr. Mobutu are the same people. We cannot trade from one dictator to another dictator. Mr. Mobutu came to us and lied to us in 1965 when he took over power, promising elections, and Kabila is coming with the same tactic. We don't need another strong man. We need elections. We're ready for election, and Mr. Kabila is welcome to come and participate in the process of elections.
Do you think at this stage a negotiated settlement is possible to end the civil war?
There is no civil war in Zaire, though it may seem as it is. People of Zaire want Mobutu out, and Mr. Kabila is not fighting any real army. Mr. Mobutu disarmed the army in 1989, so what we have now is Kabila walking in a real vacuum. The only military power that is in Zaire is in Guadalito, Mobutu's home village, and the rest of Zaire has no real defense to protect themselves.
What do you think the existing supporters of President Mobutu, what do you think their next tactic will be?
Well, I believe that Mobutu's camp is confused. Kabila and Mobutu both are supported from outside, and inside the country, Mobutu's people are in panic because they understand this is the end of their era. And the people of Zaire want election, need election, and are demanding election right now.
You keep mentioning the need for elections, but what gives you the confidence that there will even be elections in Zaire?
Well, the only hope for Zaire is democracy. And the only way democracy can work is when people can vote. And I believe I'm calling to our partners around the world, our partners for democracy, to make sure that if they stood for Bosnia, if they stood for Israel, if they stood for Haiti, if they stood for any other country have been claiming for democracy, Zaire needs help, and the time is now. There will be an election for Zaire because the silent majority, if they don't have what they're asking for, they will speak for themselves.
How soon are you going to go back to Zaire then and start campaigning?
Yes, I'll be going back to Zaire as soon as practical.
Which means?
Which means that we are working to make the Zaire case known around the world, to build the momentum that will help the people, to help our people speak for themselves, which means that I'm ready to go as soon as we have the guidelines for elections and we have the international community to join us to monitor the elections.
Right, with that, our thanks to Stephen NZITA, candidate for President of Zaire for the People's Progressive Party, which he founded, and he joined us from the CNN Center in Atlanta.
Thank you very much.
Business and sports reports are ahead, and we will...
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here to reclaim our country. We are here to uphold democracy. We are here to bring dignity to our fellow men. I am announcing my candidacy to the presidency of Zaire. And by the grace of God Almighty, we are here to restore hope and peace to our land. I speak on behalf of the suffering people of Zaire to tell you that if there ever was a time when we needed help, that time is now. Zaire needs stability. Zaire requires progress, and that progress must come now. We are opening from now on a new chapter in the politics of Zaire. We are going to give a real voice to the people. We are going to link them to their brothers and sisters around the world. When we succeed, the whole world will benefit.
As the First Lady spread her message of peace and unity this week, more unrest in the Central African nation of Zaire. The Clinton administration is warning U.S. citizens not to travel to Zaire, and it is preparing for a possible evacuation of Americans from that country. Meantime, there's a new man trying to become Zaire's new president, and he's trying to gather support in the U.S. Here's BET News correspondent Greg Morrison.
This is the man who wants to be the next president of Zaire. The U.S.-educated Dr. Stephen Zita is leader of the People's Progressive Party, one of several opposition groups seeking to unseat the current authoritarian government of Mobutu Sese Seko. Zita says the agony his country is suffering is the fault of the long-entrenched dictator who looted the country for 31 years.
Since 1990, there has been a vacuum in Zaire. That vacuum needs to be filled. And we still have the old people trying just to survive if they can maintain one more day.
Zita is making the rounds in this country, drumming up support among prominent African Americans for his pro-democracy movement, which calls for free elections in Zaire.
Agreed.
He says the leader of the rebel movement, Laurent Kabila, is just as selfish as the current leadership.
Anytime you bring war in your backyard, you have irreversible consequences. And Mr. Kabila is greedy as Mobutu. They are dictators. They don't see the tragedy they're creating. All they care about is how much money they can get.
Zita says Zaire, one of the poorest nations in the world, can have a standard of living to match Western Europe in 20 years if corruption and anarchy come to an end right now. A violent overthrow of the current regime in Zaire appears to be almost inevitable. What Zita is trying to do at this point is return democracy to that country as well as economic growth. In Atlanta, Greg Morrison, BET News.